Good afternoon, and we begin with breaking news this afternoon. In the past few minutes, the German government has revealed that hospital tests show that the Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny was poisoned by a nerve agent from the Novichok group. That's the same group that was used to poison the former Russian spy Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yulia in Salisbury in 2018. Russia's Interfax news agency has responded to say Russian experts found no toxic agents in Navalny's system, and there are no reasons to disbelieve them. That's from a source in Moscow. Let's speak to our Europe correspondent, Adam Parsons. And Germany saying these tests prove without any doubt that he was poisoned with an agent from the Novichok group, Adam.
Yeah, that is right. And it's notable that the German government is saying that there is no doubt about this. I think they would have confidently preempted the fact that Russia's response would be to say, well, we have no evidence of this. We know that Alexei Navalny was seen by Russian doctors before he came to Germany. And this would be a classic Russian response, would be to say, well, we disagree. We looked at him and we think that this is a murky plot. So you are going to end up with a diplomatic tit for tat. My understanding is that the German government met to discuss these responses with Angela Merkel, the German Chancellor, talking to her ministers, and that Germany is now going to talk to the European Union and to NATO to brief them and to discuss the response. Now, there are several angles to this. European Union foreign ministers met just last week. They met by coincidence in Berlin, just a couple of miles from the hospital where Mr. Navalny was lying. And on that agenda, which was at the time when originally conceived, was largely going to be about gas drilling in the Eastern Mediterranean. Then it became about Belarus. And then it did become about Russia and indeed the state of Mr. Navalny. Now confirmation of what they thought would happen. The question is, what will be the response? I think a couple of things are almost inevitable. And following on, in a sense, from the playbook that was established after the Salisbury poisonings. Remember, then the UK expelled a series of Russian diplomats and asked for solidarity from friendly nations, which led to Russian diplomats being thrown out of a series of other countries. It may well be that the Germans do exactly the same thing. And then on top of that, I suspect that the European Union will be looking at tightening sanctions against Russia in response to this. The one caveat is that the EU at times like this can move slowly. So while individual nations may expel diplomats, European-wide sanctions may take rather longer to carry out. And during all that time, you can be absolutely sure that Russia will be taking every possibility it can to put forward its side of the story, which bluntly will be along the lines of, we're not entirely sure what's wrong with Mr. Navalny, but we didn't poison him.
And in terms of Mr. Navalny, what is the latest on his condition, Adam?
Well, we understand that he is still very, very seriously ill in that German hospital. Of course, he was taken very ill in Russia on a flight. The election is coming up relatively shortly. He was busy with preparations for that. And then when he was treated in Russia, the Russian doctors there did not diagnose any form of poisoning. It was only after he was taken to Germany that it was assessed that he had been poisoned. And as you said, now German hospitals saying that he's been poisoned without a doubt, and I think very significant that they have identified novichok. Now, novichok took a long time to identify as the poisoning agent in the Salisbury poisonings. Here, of course, one would imagine that the German medics involved, and that will have gone up to, one imagines, certainly sort of military centres, as it did with the Salisbury precedent, will pretty quickly have decided that Novichok would be a possibility. The GRU, the Russian Secret Service, have used that previously, so I suspect that they put that high on their list of possibilities and have come out very publicly and identified Novichok. And as we know from the Skripals, Novichok is a very, very nasty agent which can incapacitate, can put somebody in a coma, and can, of course, ultimately lead to death.